All right, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Evan Medeiros, and today we're going to look at kind of updated view here on the market. I want to show you some of the stocks we're trading, how I missed out on a 30% move in the last 24 hours, which was sort of frustrating, but that's the life of a trader. And I want to show you some things that are working and are doing well for us right now. So let's get into it. S&P 500 is a daily chart we're looking at right now. I mean, it looks like paint drying. There's just not a whole lot here. It's classic kind of summertime, lower volume trading-ish. Depends where you are on low volume, but it's just pretty quiet out there from an index perspective. One of the themes we've been talking about, of course, is dispersion. Just a fancy way of saying there's lots of stocks going up a lot, lots of stocks going down a lot. And when you kind of bring them to the index level, you're kind of pinned or contained or flat or grinding in that fashion. All right. So not a whole lot has changed there. If I look at our market navigator indicator, so if you don't tune in regularly to our Friday videos, I usually share our outlook on the market environment from a swing trader perspective. And so we're on day 5 of a bullish backdrop. So right down here, you can see we switched gears over the kind of coming into August, basically from a weak mixed to a supportive environment for swing trading specifically. So our mandate now is we want to put cash to work. We want to look for long setups. We want to be invested in the market. We're not buying the SPY here, although if that's your cup of tea, perfectly reasonable. But we're looking for individual stocks that can outperform the indexes when we're in this type of environment. All right, so S&P, that's kind of status quo. We had CPI out today, this morning, the big boogeyman that everybody was worried about. It came in pretty status quo at expectations. And so on to the next thing we can worry about. But the market, basically took that in stride. No big surprises there. We also had recently NVIDIA. This was, I think, on Friday or I don't know, a few days ago. Basically put out backstop funding partnerships with lots of the big mega center banks on just expanding, proliferating this AI build out. So there was lots of kind of support there for, I think, a lot of the AI trade. And then of course, this morning or last night and this morning, we had CoreWeave, which came out with, strong numbers. Market likes it. Big demand still on the horizon. Stocks up 20%. So moving back up towards the highs. And then NBIS. Or as I've heard people say today, NBIS. I've never heard NBIS. Have I been saying this wrong the whole time? Because I saw a clip where, I think it was a CNBC clip, and I think it was CoreWeave, the CEO, talking about NBIS. So maybe I've been pronouncing this wrong. I'm going to say NBIS because in my head, that's what I've always called this company. Or maybe I'll just say NBIS. 29% move here on efficiency, demand, just all the good things that you want to see. This is a stock that we sold. We had it, we sold it here, Tuesday, the 11th. That's yesterday, about 10 hours ago. So I would like to have those shares back. But unfortunately, I sold out of this right in here. This was in our Rockets momentum portfolio. Let me see if I can just bring this up real quick. So our momentum portfolio, it's fully invested right now. This is a portfolio we brought to market here at the end of July. So it's got 11 stocks in it. It's fully invested. NBIS was one of them. We got a sell signal right before earnings. And so we exited the trade for a loss, right? Mind you, which stings, 8% roughly on the loss. Quick in, bought it in right in here. And we just enough got flushed out on the pullback here. We're usually pretty good at surviving those, but not this one. So we got out. And we get to enjoy a face ripper here of 30%. That's life, unfortunately, right? As a swing trader, you're never going to kind of make all the perfect decisions. The market is always going to kind of test you, challenge you. And this is why I follow a rules-based process, is because, you know what? We filled up the book again. We've got a new position in. Life goes on. So NBIS, CoreWeave, NVIDIA, bringing life back to the AI infrastructure sort of trade. I still like software. That's been one of the themes that I've been talking about recently on the rotation side of things. But the hardware, the CapEx, the atoms, let's call it, are starting to work again. So let's talk about some of the things that are maybe, new and actionable. So our portfolio is fully invested. Let's look at a couple of the names in our portfolio that are working. So CRDO is now kind of the best performing in the portfolio. So this is our Rockets portfolio. We purchased this about 5 days ago at 216 on the open on August 26th. So, sorry, August 6th. August 26th would be going forward in time. August 6th, we purchased this, and it is really, kind of climbing out of the hole here. It's back at a little bit of a place where I would expect it to struggle around this 280 zone, but our first target's up here around 300. So, we're looking for a test of these prior highs. That's when we take some profit off the table, but this is clearly a trade that's in motion, working, up about 28% in the last 4 or 5 sessions. HPE, I've been talking about this one for a while. I've been posting this, shared the entry. This is also in the portfolio of ours. I think this is more so actually like an underfollowed name. There's not too much excitement or hype I see around HPE, or particularly from the retail community, I suppose. So I like the structure here. It had a huge move. Obviously it is, a little bit frothy on the longer term timeframes, but momentum's intact and this continues to work. It is set to trade at all-time highs today if we can hold on to these prices. So those two stocks, they're in the portfolio. Those are kind of our big, movers right now that are helping fuel the gains. ANET. Talk about this one. This is on our signals list. All right. So this is a buy signal for us. It's not in the portfolio, but this is having kind of a breakout move run today. This was entered in at 187. And so this is working. It's trading towards highs. It's, not too extended, but you're getting a little bit of a chase at this point. Last one I want to bring to your attention is good old Broadcom. Again, I'm not as thrilled about semiconductors right now. I think they're fine. I don't think they're gonna, I'm not a bear on them, but I do think there's digestion in that space that's probably going to happen. So I would lump Broadcom into this, but look at this big open gap here that we are teetering on and testing. So I do think, we could get a fill of this gap and then kind of pull back down and chop around. So depending on how active you are, there could be some still opportunity here in a name like Broadcom. So I think that's pretty much all I wanted to say today. Staring at NBIS that we no longer own, enjoying and rooting for HPE, CRDO, and a handful of other names in the portfolio. I think it's all about process though. You got to have a process if you're going to be navigating these markets. I am currently a bull, as I've been kind of pounding home saying, we're long momentum signals. We're seeing buy signals to stay long in this market. That's not always going to be the case though. And so eventually we're going to run out of steam here and we're going to turn more neutral or even bearish, right? So it's a matter of time. Everything cycles. That's why we have a process to risk manage, find stocks, all the good stuff. So that's it, I think, for this video. We'll be back maybe with another video before Friday, but if not, I'll see you on Friday for the stock market weekly.